Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time. It's a very important discussion, I think, because I really feel that the purpose of 2020 is to connect our entire ecosystem through the solutions that we create. So without further ado, I'll get us started. So this is probably one of my favorite slides that we use in our presentations because it talks about our purpose, right? We create technology and software that help make amazing spaces for life. So as Francesca said, I'm Lee Karitka, and I'm in charge of enablement and customer success at 2020. But I've only been with the company just under 2 years. And I've learned so much about this exciting and dynamic industry, especially from our customers, whether they be designers, retailers, or manufacturers. And like many of you, I assume, I was drawn to this industry through an interest in home renovation. So a lot of the people that I work with have spoken about how they've renovated something in their home, whether it be their kitchen or bath, and how addictive that process can become. So I've completely remodeled several homes over the years, and I'm somewhat addicted to taking ugly properties, even if they have good bones, and making it beautiful and comfortable, at least for me. So despite a deep interest in this, my day job is something quite different. So for my background, I focused on technology and e-commerce during my business studies back when e-commerce was a new word. And since then, I've spent about 25 years working for multinational technology, software, and systems organizations, but always on the commercial side, because I want to focus on the problems that technology can solve, and even better, the opportunities technology can provide for our customers. So for me, 2020 is the combination and culmination of these two passions, renovations and technology, which is why I love this mission statement. The importance of home as a refuge in the heart of a family or circle of friends, especially the rooms where we spend the majority of our waking hours, kitchens, bathrooms, and now home offices, combined with the idea that technology can provide opportunities to the people and businesses involved in creating and improving homes. It just makes me feel privileged to work at 2020. So without further ado, I'd like to speak a little bit about our direction and focus and how we're helping our customers address industry trends and challenges, as well as taking advantage of those opportunities for success and growth. So customers are at the center of everything. And although we're creating technology and software for our professional and enterprise customers, we're of course focused on their needs, the key to our success is going to be making sure that everything we do is centered around the end consumer, keeping their behaviors, their preferences, and their needs in mind, because they drive the trends and the opportunities and challenges that we address. So our vision is to help our customers connect through the entire consumer journey, from where they are from inspiration, seeking design expertise, becoming familiar with products and purchase options, to the manufacturers, making these dreams become a reality. So as a technology partner, everything we do should be about improving and optimizing the consumer experience, and we are very focused on that. We have a vast portfolio of products and services that cater to all facets of the industry, but we're really focused on ensuring that journey from inspiration to installation, that we're able to support our customers in supporting consumers through that journey. And so there are 5 main personas that we look at. So obviously the consumers whom I've mentioned are at the center. We also produce some quite exciting and I think comprehensive software for professional designers. We also have a lot of solutions for retailers, whether that be engaging consumers early in their journey with things like 2020 Ideal Spaces and mobile, We also provide opportunities for retailers to manage the sale of the sales process a bit better through 2020 Manager. For manufacturers, that create the product, without which retailers and designers couldn't transform the dreams into realities, we also have solutions for them to ensure that they're optimized, efficient, and productive. So without different steps and entities supporting the consumer, there are various areas where we can see a risk for disconnects and inefficiencies that may inconvenience or frustrate the customer. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Ultimately, we want the consumer to have a seamless experience. We want to make sure that, when they're becoming inspired, that they have availability of those products and knowledge of those products and awareness of those products and brands and options. I don't know how many of you have decided to redesign a kitchen based on a piece of hardware or a particular refrigerator, but I see that a lot. So making sure that consumers have a deep awareness of what's available to them when they're thinking about their spaces at home. I think that's really important. And then making sure that their experience prior to coming into a store or prior to connecting with a designer, making sure that connection is facilitated and easy for them. And then when ordering from manufacturers, we want to make sure that that process is easy for the designer, easy for the retailer, and that those connections between manufacturer and retailer are strong and coordinated. And then finally, delivery and installation, which can be a challenge because it's the areas that are I think the most outside of our control in terms of visibility. So when I look at the consumer journey in a more detailed way, there's a lot of touch points, and like I said, there are these. I don't really want to call them silos because I do believe that there are connections here, but there's opportunities for friction, opportunities for disconnection at each of these stages. So we want to make sure that we focus on those. And then I also have been talking about consumers, but I should make the point that tradespeople, builders, and installers, they have a similar journey. It may require less guidance at the beginning than the average consumer, but they do travel a similar path. So regardless, those that serve them, designers, retailers, and manufacturers, have the ultimate challenge of working together to provide a seamless and integrated experience for the purchaser. So that's where 2020 comes in. So we're creating solutions that follow the consumer's journey to support designers, retailers, and manufacturers in becoming more integrated, more efficient, more productive. And in addition, I don't know why I can't say in addition. In addition, we're working to develop solutions that provide more visibility and control. Also to improve communications and coordination. So the first step in this journey is consumer engagement. So we help our clients capture consumer attention, help them get partway down the path. Sometimes this could be around making a consumer aware of products that are available to them they didn't previously know about. This might be helping them play around with a design tool or a visualization tool just to see what options are available in their space. And these tools can also provide good opportunities for lead generation. So the next step in the journey is the design moment. So this is technical drawings, product specifications, renderings, and all of these provide the necessary connection between the consumer and the industry. This is where the consumer can actually visualize their dream space. So 2020 Design, 2020 Fusion, and the new feature-rich, flexible, live versions of these design solutions are increasing the value of this process. And the live versions offer thousands of flexible products for manufacturer catalogs and stunning 3D renderings, which provide the tools to plan and visualize kitchens, bathrooms, closets, home organization, etc. So when it's time to sell the product, 2020 has solutions to help you be more productive and efficient and manage these customer interactions. So you have workflows that guide users. When I say users here, I mean the store associates from prospect through to contract. There's dashboards that allow users to prioritize and manage activities and their status from a design perspective and a quoting perspective. There's also integrations with 2020 Design Live and ultimately 2020 Fusion Live that will optimize the transfer of design information, pricing, and minimize errors and things like that. And then there's also pricing information, scheduling, lead times for manufacturers and suppliers, help with creating orders, etc. And next we'll move to the manufacturer. So 2020 provides a complete manufacturing software solution for furniture, cabinet, and wood product manufacturers. So this solution has dedicated tools that help manage and automate your sales and production from the design through the factory and out to the consumer. So to make everything work, data is a central part of that. So we separate data into what we call infolytics, right? So that's a word that we use internally, and it's a mix between the information and analytics that basically gives us actionable metrics. And here we're collecting the information throughout the project lifecycle from our various tools and aggregating that information to provide insight. So you can't manage what you don't measure. So by harnessing the power of analytics, we can gain access to these insights that will allow us to make confident, informed, and data-driven decisions more quickly. We can use shopping behavior and project design data to understand market trends. And for example, make sure that we're offering the specific style, color, and finish combinations that are trending currently. Opting for stock, semi-custom, custom cabinets, making sure that those things are in inventory, understanding which appliances are most popular. So there's a lot of things that infolytics can do at the front end that help us help provide a more seamless experience to the consumer, but also throughout the process, ensuring that coordination and communication between manufacturers, designers, and retailers is valuable. So let's see, the next one is also understanding the content, right? So at the moment, we're talking about content in the cloud, but this is the glue that connects all of these items together. This access, the live versions of our software that access content in the cloud, make sure that we can store, manage, and secure all of the product information and catalogs. With regard to the commercial data, the 3D models, the pricing information, engineering firm rules, biometric configuration, availability, etc. So in every step of this journey, we're making sure that everyone is using the products and the catalogs or using the same up-to-date and current information. So we like to say it's the right content to the right people at the right time. Okay, so the products and service that 2020 provides, they're driven by the direction of the industry, the needs of the consumer, and their ever-changing consumer behaviors and patterns. So consumers are demanding that technology support and embrace the evolution of this industry, and they want to be current. 2020's goal is to aid them in that journey now and for years to come. So what I've shown you thus far, in my mind, has been kind of a simplified version of what we do at 2020. And I wanted to show this view because it's a very detailed view, but I think it's really important to understand that the consumer journey starts well before they make a connection with a designer or retailer. And I think the biggest change over the last few years is this reliance on social networks. I think there's statistics that says that a large percentage of people that use social networks consider them very, very important, and about 14% of those think that they can't live without it. So it's become very, very influential, and it's influential from a purchasing standpoint, from a customer support standpoint, in addition to what we would normally see in terms of inspiration. So with the consumer and their project being at the center of this ecosystem, we can see here that there's a lot of connections that we need to make sure are strengthened and strong. And then across the bottom, we of course have the content that we talked about earlier. And I think this syndication of content goes across the journey. So this availability of product information should start, well before the consumer is involved in the purchasing journey. And then data and analytics, of course. Whatever we can learn about consumers and their behavior and their preferences throughout this journey will only help us make better decisions. And the future is bright. So as we learn, and certainly currently, we're seeing a lot of information about the market is very positive at the moment, right? So low interest rates, low inventory in the housing market, and other factors are driving demand, right? So I think this is from the NKBA. So it talks about the growth, this billion-dollar business at the beginning of this hundreds of billions of dollar business at the beginning of the decade has now becoming $1 trillion business in just a few years. So we're seeing some good growth year over year, a lot of growth from North America, although I believe that Canada's growth in home improvement last year outpaced the economic growth for the country. So I thought that was a really interesting statistic. And we're seeing similar growth in the UK, France, and Germany, Australia, Oceania, and beyond. So it's definitely a growth industry globally, and we're seeing a 4% compound annual growth rate. So the sales growth expectations are kind of in these different buckets in terms of building and construction, design, manufacturing, and retail sales, but they're all very, very positive numbers. So it's pretty bullish coming out of the first quarter of 2021, and the expectation is that we'll have these double-digit figures for the full year of 2021 as compared to 2020. So the things that are driving some of this market factors, so increasing financial security. I think as we come out of the pandemic, we're seeing people feel a lot better about making significant investments into their home. I think even during COVID, I think those of us that were in lockdown or spending a lot of time at home, there's only so much you can do with that time, and you start to notice how all of the things that you didn't have time to do before, or even if you don't have time now, they're starting to wear on you a bit more because you're spending more time at home. And so wanting to invest in your home has become a much bigger trend of late. Also, foot traffic surges. We're seeing that happen as we come out of COVID. Consumers are becoming vaccinated and more comfortable shopping in stores. So I still believe wholeheartedly that many consumers became accustomed to shopping online, doing a lot of their research online, making purchases online. So I think that trend will continue, but it's nice to see that foot traffic increasing as people want to get out of their homes and, touch, see, and feel the products that they're interested in purchasing. And then building and construction is huge at the moment. Like I said, there's a housing shortage, and there's a lot of backlogs as a result of continued demand. So we're also seeing some challenges around building and construction as well as manufacturing with the lack of access to supplies or delayed access to supplies. Then manufacturing, we have some labor issues and at the same time relentless demand. So we're seeing some extended timelines there and strained capacity. And we're also seeing manufacturers reduce the number of options that they produce, which personally I believe can be a good thing. I think consumers, curating content, curating product lines, curating these things for consumers, it actually makes it easier for them to make decisions. So as long as you understand your consumer well, I think it's a very good move to reduce production of options so that you can save, so that your capacity isn't as strained and you can save costs associated with efficiencies. So taking advantage of the growth. So these recommendations actually came from the Home Improvement Research Institute. So as the home improvement landscape, it's very complex and consumer attitudes and expectations evolve. So we look at these 3 growth strategies for your business, regardless of where you sit in that customer journey. So understanding a customer's lifestyle, I think, is really important, and because that helps you understand their preferences, desires, needs, things like that. And the Home Improvement Research Institute is saying that should extend to financial health, career plans, family dynamics. So I think that's good advice. And then meeting brand expectations. So going beyond just closing the deal. I think a lot of people associate the risk with a major purchase as coming after the deal is signed or after they've purchased the kitchen. It's the risk that they perceive is, will it be delivered on time? How will it be installed? Will it look like I want it to? So providing a customer experience from start to finish can boost the confidence and increase the repeat business. So that's I think a very important point. And then taking the idea of an ideal customer journey and elevating it to the next level. So we look at this, and a lot of organizations will equate customer satisfaction with customer support numbers and things like that. So or you look at any one part of the journey and ask, was that a positive experience? Was that a positive experience? You may have good numbers, but if you don't look at the journey in its entirety, the satisfaction at the end of that journey can actually be much more negative than you realize. So understanding how a consumer interacts with your business and really proactively seeking opportunities to fix or develop that, I think is also really crucial. So some things that I've noticed of late, since I've been in with 2020, technology matters. So it's not just what we sell at 2020 and what you're using as a business, it's what your buyer uses. So all of that combined matters a great deal to what's happening in our industry. So keeping abreast of that is really important. Becoming more social. I mean, we talked, this industry's been talking about becoming omnichannel for a really long time. But, you know, social is one of the channels. And so I think it's really essential that businesses invest in understanding this phenomenon much better and optimizing this opportunity to connect with consumers well before they purchase and after they purchase, so that your customers can become advocates for you. Consider adding purpose alongside profit. So this is a trend that I read recently from KPMG. So this is something that's very important to, especially with younger consumers. Basically, everyone's sort of below the baby boomer age, and that is they want to do business with and like doing business with organizations that have a purpose outside of just profit. So I think most organizations, most businesses do have charities that they support, or initiatives that are philanthropic, and making sure that you're communicating this to your customer base, I think, is really important. Eco-consciousness is starting to outshine price consciousness. So this is another trend that I see. I think we're all aware that consumers can be very price sensitive and may or may not understand the total cost of a project and things like this. So managing their expectations around price is really important. But what we're finding is that they're willing to spend more on eco-conscious products and services, so whether that be around solar energy or sustainable materials used in cabinet making, this is becoming increasingly important. And then we have another technology point here with AI and VR. In addition to inspiration and planning tools that I mentioned earlier, we're seeing these become additions to that inspiration stage in the consumer journey. And although currently it hasn't, it's still, I think, in early stages in the sense of adoption. I think I read some research that stated that I think 50% of consumers think that it's going to be part of their daily life within the next 10 years. So, sorry about that. So the consumer designer retailer relationship. So there's some opportunities here, I think, where we can improve things, the communication between consumers, designers, and retailers, right? So I think it's important to do this, and I mentioned social before, so that's one area that I think could be really important. Again, it's about trying to be a part of that inspiration phase when a consumer is starting on their journey, their path to purchase. So anything that you can do there, and also understanding your consumer really well, understanding who are you targeting and what their preferences, needs, and desires might be, so that you can better serve them. And if your targets are very, very different, I even think about recommending that designers specialize. So if you sell to tradespeople as well as consumers, perhaps it makes sense to specialize. Or if you're talking about specializing in those that are trying to renovate to age in place versus a flipper or someone like that, it might make sense to specialize there. But either way, understanding what motivates them, what's important to them through this process is really important, and can also shorten your sales cycle and increase the average order size. So the designer, retailer, manufacturer relationship. So this is where I think things can go wrong in the consumer's journey when it comes to, especially now, when it comes to things like inventory. So You know, the example that I think about is when a designer has designed something beautiful for a consumer, and the consumer's very excited and very happy about it, and then there's a stock availability issue or something like that that wasn't visible to the designer at the time. So this communication, this connection is really important. So I think that that's an example of ensuring that this is a very tight relationship and that there's a lot of really good coordination and communication. And then the manufacturer-consumer relationship. So I think a lot of people think that I mean that manufacturers would sell directly to consumers, and I'm not suggesting that. I think appliance manufacturers are a great example of a manufacturer that has a very tight relationship with the consumers, but doesn't sell direct. It's about understanding that consumer so that you're optimizing your business. But also, manufacturers are kind of on the hook after delivery for warranty information and post-sale questions and product information. So without having a connection until then, it's not optimal for the manufacturer or the consumer. So I think there's also the idea that manufacturers may want to increase brand awareness with consumers prior to the consumer getting involved, so that consumers are familiar with their products and can make more informed choices. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap up. So the fabric connecting the ecosystem. So we want to have a common vision and goals. We want to prioritize the consumer experience. We want to make use of that data so that we're making better decisions. And we want to make accurate content a priority, and we want to make the content pervasive. So, and that's it for me.